D search, and then we should get a little bit of memory research on our chats, and then Ditto should make like a report for us. On that point, I mentioned 22. One of the great things about Ditto is like if Ditto wins, Bittensor wins. Like we're super mutually beneficial because we're buying so many services from Bittensor subnets, and we plan to continue doing that. So anytime Ditto's generating revenue, we're like our expenses are going into other Ditto subnets. So that's really exciting. And we're also just, as this works, like we're fully aligned with our token. We plan to implement a profit buyback. So we're going to cover our base expenses. Like my goal is building a fat revenue engine through the Ditto app, through this business OS. Then we're going to cover our costs with our revenue. And then we're going to take a percentage of the profit and put it back into buyback and lock, and even buyback and burn. That's all stuff we're exploring. But that way, this app here is tied to the token, and that's what we want. So, and this is fun. It actually ran code. Wow. Okay, awesome. So we're looking at GPT Luna right now, running in the Ditto memory harness. And you can see it's taking a minute because it's actually writing the artifact right now. So it did a ton of deep research. It did some subject searches. Okay, look, zip code, decentralized AI network, 440. So it looked for relevant subjects. It searched memories as well and found like individual references here. It did some X search like we asked it to. And then it decided to run some code because it can write JavaScript. So I think it wanted to find like price data. That's what I think that's what it did. So whatever this finally cooks is going to be really interesting. So yeah, what comes up? I just talked a lot.
Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. That's like I think you've just taken away from many businesses in one go in Bittensor, if I must say. I know a lot of trading businesses that scrape from Telegram and Discord, but it seems like you've got everything on here. What stood out to me, and you were speaking about it earlier, was Notion and Slack. Building something in this ecosystem or outside of this ecosystem. A big part of it is how do you coordinate with your team? You go into Slack, but then you drop in files, and then you go into Notion and you build a page out. But it's a bit janky about how you have to use each of these platforms. And if I understand correctly, I could go into Ditto, integrate everything, invite people to join that conversation with me and the agents, and we could work on whatever we're building together, and then send it off to Slack or Notion for anyone else that we want to share that information with. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Now, of course, we're going to continue to build the integrations. So V2 is going to come out, and then over the coming months, you're going to see more and more connections supported. And we have Ditto orgs that are also going to get more advanced. So when you start working with a team, yeah, you'd make a Ditto org. You could bring all your connections there. And that can be your central hub, but then you can also push out things to the other platforms as needed.
Amazing. In the simplest form, with all of these integrations, maybe so we can understand it as listeners today, if I were to jump onto Ditto for the first time, what would your recommendation be for how I get the best experience or use Ditto in the most wise way possible?
Okay, so the question is like, what's the best way to get started with Ditto, and what's a good like first step, right? Okay, hop on that wait list, and we will get you guys access. I would recommend, because everybody here is on Telegram, so I would start with the Telegram connection, because like once you've done that, it like you've been able to ingest like all of your chats, and it actually goes into your graph. I wonder if subnet, let's just type, oh, I can't search in here, but this is a way to, okay, so before this Telegram integration, you would have to log into Ditto and kind of start chatting, and then we added imports, so you can bring your data from ChatGPT in, but you had to start building a relationship from zero with Ditto. But now that we have the chat integrations, you no longer have to start from zero. You can start from one in Ditto now. So in the V2 spot, it would be in settings here, and then there's connections, and you kind of hop over here and do a connection. And we are going to do proper demos, so I don't really have to show you how to do this now, but we're going to walk through everything end to end. And yeah, you would connect. I would start with your Telegram, sync that up, and then just as you saw, like you can start asking questions about anything relevant to the Telegram. So as you saw, like we just did an overview. What's the most bullish subnets based on the chats? You know, you could ask for the most bullish, the most bearish, and now you have like research backed, you know, evidence backed based on actual community sentiment, what people are saying. And yeah, I guess that's not to make it too complicated, but I would just start there. I mean, log in, create an account, read the terms, accept it, go to connections, hop in here, and that will sync immediately. And then you can just start chatting and asking questions. And Ditto kind of we intend Ditto to help, to know how to use itself and be able to help you along the process. That's another big theme of V2 is like fixing our onboarding. You know, so that Ditto can help you suggest like what could be useful for you. So I personally use Ditto for organizing a lot of information. I've used it to create contracts because it has memories about like my team and other operations and stuff like that. I've used Ditto to deal with like emotional situations where I just kind of need a like non-human agent to just talk about something, and it knows about me personally, so like I've used it for personal stuff. Yeah, those are the main things I would say.
Sounds like you can use it for anything. You could use it to be your emotional therapy while you're cooking dinner.
Of course, yeah, we do have a live mode, so you can talk to Ditto. It's right down here, so you can have a phone call with Ditto. Allow, and he does load up. Ditto, be there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You were saying something about him loading up.
Yeah, you're all loaded up, Ditto. Say hi to Subnet Summer. You're in a podcast.
Specific you wanted to discuss about that?
You're in a podcast, man. Okay, you get the point. This is props to Alan on our team. He literally designed this little talking Ditto. It's so cool.
That is amazing. I want to somehow integrate. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello, Ditto friend, if you could hear me.
Wait. Maybe he can hear you. Hang on.
Yeah, maybe you can hear me. If anyone has any questions for Ditto, chuck them in here. We can maybe ask him some questions about Ditto himself. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you perfectly. What's up?
Thank you for joining myself and Peyton, the founder of Ditto, today in Subnet Summer. You're actually live with us on a podcast right now.
That's right. Happy to join you. What would you like to chat about today?
Tell me about some of your features that, as a Telegram user and a Bittensor investor and builder, how should I navigate the Ditto platform?
Sure. From what I remember, you're involved in things like monitoring the QF-V2 friction watch cron job, managing your subnet miner activity, and handling PR reviews. On the Telegram side, you get job listing updates and coordinate through the Ditto board. Is there anything specific you're interested in?
Oh man,
that's great. I wanna know what's the best subnet to invest in right now.
That's a great question. There are a few strong contenders right now, like Jute's SN64, which has high usage and revenue, and Targon SN4 for enterprise compute. You've also discussed Minos SN107 in the past. Are you looking for something with specific features like GPU access or storage?
What about Ditto? Should I invest into Ditto?
Well, as an AI, I can't give investment advice, but based on our conversations, you're pretty involved in the Ditto backend and strategy. Are you thinking about the company itself or the subnet token?
The subnet token.
Here, I'll ask Ditto a question. Ditto, can you look at the nerds chat, the subnet summer chat, like do some memory searches, look for as many chat data as you can, and see what people say about Ditto, and search the web, Ditto subnet. Tell me what's the sentiment.
Okay, so based on our memories and a quick search, Ditto seems to have a generally positive reputation, especially regarding its role in the Minos subnet and as a harness subnet. People value its memory capabilities, some recent updates like multilingual support, and its use in business operations. There are also discussions about planned features like Bittensor integration and open sourcing. Is there a particular aspect you want to dig into?
We all good? Just have we had enough with Ditto, sir? All right. Well, we'll let you go, Ditto. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ditto.
Yep.
That was enjoyable. I think I need to do an AMA just with just with Ditto in the future, where we have a conversation with the community. Funnily enough, there's been a few questions that's come in, so maybe I'll ask them too. That's come from the community. One of them was, for avoidance of doubt, can Ditto scrape the Bittensor Discord? I think I lost Peyton there for a second. But that's a great question. And if you guys have other questions while we're waiting for him, please, feel free to ask them.
Okay. Hey, my internet, can you hear me?
Yep, you're back. Did you hear the first question?
No, please ask the first question again.
For avoidance of doubt, can Ditto scrape the Bittensor Discord? Which I saw the integration there, so I believe so.
So this is a great question. Fantastic question. It's currently no. So I checked into this, and we have implemented everything very, I would say conservatively. Like, we have a Discord developer portal, a Telegram developer portal. So when people actually try this, I didn't show this, but when people try our connections, I think they're going to be impressed, because if you've used Hermes or OpenClaw or even Claude, they make you mint a Telegram bot ID and make your own Discord developer portal, a bunch of stuff you really shouldn't have to. We did that for you. So it's a matter of just put your phone number in. Now your Telegram's connected. With Discord, it's the OAuth connection, log in with Discord that you're familiar with. None of that other crap. It gives us, there is a limitation, which is in Discord, you need the Ditto bot added to the server. So we could probably ask, so you could always index your own servers easily. And then we probably need to get permission to add it into the Bittensor one. And they'd probably do it for us. So that's a Discord app. With Telegram, good news about Telegram, you can index everything in such a beautiful way, the way we implemented the connection. So I'm so stoked on the Telegram thing. That being said, I started researching. Some people may have heard of an app called Beeper. Beeper is an app where we're very inspired by it. All your chat apps are in one place. Your Discord DMs, servers, Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, essentially everything except for iMessage, because they couldn't keep supporting iMessage. And I believe the way they're doing that is they have a desktop app, Beeper Desktop, that you have to keep open, and it has a background process. And so my belief is, I think that's the workaround in terms of being kosher with terms of service, that you need to have something running on your PC or your MacBook or something. And then, because I really want to deliver the Beeper experience, because what I want is, I really don't want to open Telegram or Discord. I just want to liaise on all that through Ditto, and I just want to be able to interact with Ditto. So right now, it feels like it's a research tool. So your Telegram chats, your Slack, your Discord, it's all now in your memory graph, and you can ask good questions. But where we're going, though, is full mirror of each platform. That's what I want. I believe we can deliver it. Full mirror of every platform, where you can send your messages from Ditto, and Ditto will also help you write those messages. You get to write them, but Ditto's memory will help you write the right messages. We all have a lot of DMs we're dealing with every day.
That's fantastic. And I think you answered that question very well for TP. So before, and here's some questions around, I guess, the economic side of Ditto and the subnet itself. But before we got there, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Ditto itself. From my understanding, you're using D-Search for data scraping, if I stand corrected, and Hippias for storage. That's fantastic. It's Bittensor first. I love to hear that. But there is a question around dependency. And if D-Search or Hippias, something happens to them, is there a backup plan? Or will Ditto just fall apart?
Oh, I love this question. Okay. So my background, I used to work at a hardware wallet company called Arculus. And I was the lead backend developer at Arculus for several years. It's where I learned Go. And what's relevant here is I built this fallback system and retry failover system that I took some of the flakiest blockchains and made them reliable by pulling from multiple data sources and having like a matrix of, okay, if this provider fails, we go here, we go here. I can disable this provider if it's down. I can detect if this provider is down and auto disable it. I have a lot of experience taking flaky stuff and making it extremely reliable. And I want to bring that to Ditto. So our search, so we, people know this, we were an app before Bittensor, and before Hippias, we used Backblaze, which I love Backblaze for storage. It's actually an amazing storage layer and extremely fast and very cheap. It's only twice as much as Hippias, but they're both very cheap, right? And then for search, we actually have a list of search providers. So we added D-Search as the premier one primary to shout out the Bittensor community, and because we want to keep revenue within the ecosystem. But we fail over to, I believe, Perplexity Search, Brave Search, Google Search. I'm going to be adding Parallel Search because I really like them. I mean, I'm going to just add all the search providers because that's how I like to operate. And also because you can bring your API keys for all those providers. So like, let's say you randomly really love the Brave search results. Like you should be able to set that up in Ditto, So that's, yeah. I think that answers the question?
I definitely think that answers the question. You've got a lot of backup plans. So I think Ditto will be okay.
Backups, yeah, that's how I believe. Because like we're a router. Like you think of Open Router when you think of us. Like we're redundant, deep, many layers. That's where we're going.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if I'm a Ditto user and I have nothing to do with Bittensor, would Ditto be too much of a Bittensor experience, or would I be able to navigate away from Bittensor? Just from what we saw today, it seems like it was very Bittensor first, which is amazing and great for us in the ecosystem. But for the average user that wants nothing to do with our ecosystem, that just wants the all-in-one access offer that Ditto has, is it pushing you in the direction of Bittensor through everything that's integrated already?
Not. It's what's interesting is it's really not. Like I showed you, I mean, we're very general purpose. And what I showed you is, hey, my Telegram chats have a bunch of Bittensor talk in them. So when I connect my Telegram, my Ditto is now seeded with like all the Bittensor knowledge and all the basically hype and talk and ups and downs. But if somebody else was, political, right? And they had a bunch of political chats, they connected their Telegram, then their Ditto would be completely fine-tuned to whatever they're interested in, all their political talk. Regarding Bittensor integrations, really glad you asked this. Our integrations are in the background currently. You know, no one has to know that it's dsearch. You can select ng and shoots and stuff currently, but over time it's going to be backgrounded. But there's some things that I'm excited to add because I see the Tau community as like our early insiders, basically. Like you guys are the insiders to Ditto, so I want to give something to y'all. So what we've been thinking about and brainstorming is like, hey, if you hold Ditto Alpha, like, and if you lock some Ditto Alpha or stake it, you should get some Ditto usage. Like you shouldn't have to pay us fiat. So like we should just give you some Ditto usage, like equivalent or like proportional to what you're staking. So imagine you have like, you know, several thousand in alpha and staking. Like you could easily just get a free Ditto subscription from that, you know, like we'd be happy to offer that. So that's the next thing I want to do is like, I basically want VIP for Bittensor people, probably like connect to your wallet. Like we'll implement a wallet connection. We're not going to put it front and center, but it's an if you know type of thing. And then bam, you're like in the VIP zone. And then the second component that we've talked a lot about is referral. And we are going to do this. I brought it up to my miners. I said, hey, miners, how do you feel if I take some emissions and use it for referrals? Waiting to hear back. But I think it's fair to take it from emissions and do referrals because that grows the product and that ultimately benefits the miners. They need us to spend on some marketing because we need to do the buybacks for everybody. So yeah, that's what I would say. VIP and referrals.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I think, yeah, depending on the timelines, which we haven't talked about, but the referrals would make sense once V2 comes out. There was a question from Kryptonic, which was, is Grokbot a good comparison of what V2 aims to beat?
Yeah, I would say so. Because I think people would say that Grokbot is correlated with Hermes and Claude Tag, right? Yeah, no. So yes, you know, those are examples of the world's most capable agents to date. And those are the people to beat. If Ditto isn't as useful as each of those, we're doing something wrong. So absolutely.
Fantastic. Another question from TP. Given the memory hippocampus functionality, how feasible is it to get the documents, learnings, insights, outputs from other subnets in it? Is it something you consider to do already? For example, Subnet 11 has tons of skill.md files. Subnet 66 had tons of harness outputs.
Sure. So Subnet 66, they offered to give us their like everything they learned and open source it to us. Still waiting to hear back on that. So another follow up is due. And then 11 is Sunday Bar, right? Or
I think Sunday Bar is 121.
Oh, okay.
I think 11's trajectory. I believe that's Algod's subnet.
Well, okay,
unless he's giving me the wrong number.
No, Ning and Algod, right? Okay. Well, I need to introduce myself and talk about that. So I guess the question is like, can we take some of those learnings and put them into Ditto agents? Like, for example, can we take the SN11 skills and put them into Ditto? I think that's the ask. To me, that makes sense. Okay, got it, TP. Yeah, that makes sense. So here's where I would put it. Ditto is going to have specialized agents. Right now we have a general purpose, but where we're going, you know, each agent will have the right tools for the job. Each agent will have less tools, but the right tools for the job. So I think that this applies to Ditto code. Hey, we can take some of the best skills that we think, you know, we could run evals and kind of benchmark this and be like, okay, this and this skill improved Ditto code's performance, so we'll ship it. Or if they're useful, like, you know, kind of use it, like how to create a PowerPoint or things like this, there's places that it will apply, and I'm more than happy to explore it.
Amazing. I think that answers his question. A question. Actually, I'm going to come back to this later. It's about the economics of the subnet as well. Since there's so much going on with Ditto, what are the miners actually doing? Like, what's their job?
Yeah, so the miners is Ditto's research laboratory. So on my side, my team, we write a benchmark which has several like facets or components aspects to it. And my goal is the things that I need the Ditto to be the very best at are the things that I need to codify into the benchmark and then hand that to the miners that they then compete for the highest scores on each of those things. So right now, there are only 2 dimensions, and that's just the first. And that's tool accuracy. So we have a Ditto harness, like I showed you earlier, that has its own bespoke tools, search memories, search subjects. So we grade the agents on accuracy of using tools. Did they select the right tool for the job? And then the other component is just memory. The way that works is my Ditto bench code, our Ditto bench code, generates a fake user with a long history. And then we have the answer key. And then the agent has to absorb, ingest all that information, and then it can choose to process it however it likes. That's where the miners can get an edge. And then it gets asked factual questions that are kind of ambiguous and just designed to be difficult. And they have to search through that haystack and try to find the needle. And over time, the memories get more business-like scenarios to try to optimize for that business OS. So we're going to continue adding dimensions for our research lab that we've already ratcheted up the memory and tool difficulty consistently. But I got to be honest, my miners kind of have the hang of memory now. So it's time to start adding new dimensions. I have a new person on the team that's been working on the coding competition. So Ditto is going to have a Ditto code dimension. It's going to be a new thing that miners will have to implement with the spec. And it will be coding questions that have like memory involved. So, you know, the intersection of remembering my preferences as a developer and like coding well. I believe we're choosing GPT Luna. So we're intentionally forcing you to use a pretty small model, but Luna is still a powerhouse. So we want to see how good can you do at coding with kind of a decent cheap model and remember stuff. So yeah, it forces these miners have to keep adding capabilities to their agents. And then what we do is my team, we just learn from, you know, the top 5, the top 15 submissions, because it's a research lab. And when you have a research lab, you don't bring research code into production. You know, you pay for R&D because you want innovations to happen. And then you inspect, analyze, test. That's where you do the end. That research, we're engineering. Like Ditto team is then going to engineer from the research, be like, oh, okay, we've already done this multiple times. We've enhanced Ditto's memory system by a couple of approaches we saw the miners taking. Like they used full text search. So now we have hybrid embedding similarity plus full text search as like a hybrid retrieval. That improved our accuracy more. So anyways, we just take the fruits and the best things we find that the miners are doing, and then we bring that to production.
It just swapped to my phone for a second.
Cool. Yeah, so I was just, this is a summary of that thought is like, the miners are our research laboratory. The emissions is our R&D budget. The miners produce innovations that are in the direction we want because we are trying to steer the innovation. And then we are, as a system, learning from what they're doing and then just bringing that into production as engineers.
Amazing. I can see Jared's dropped the V2 link in there, so it seems like a lot of people have access to sign up for that. So that's great. Let's talk about the economics of the subnet. So you've built this out. I can see 101 reasons why everyone would use this. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to use it for Subnet Summer. I wonder if there's a way that I can integrate the community there, or bring the community here, that we can speak about. But it would be cool to work together on that, and also giving the community information on what was said and collecting that data, so people don't have to read from top to bottom every day. But there was a question earlier from TP, which was about equity. It says, following the equity discussion in the eco lately, do you offer equity on the side that is not in the form of alpha?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. So my company is a traditional company. It was a company before Bittensor. So the way it works is Omar and I are the majority shareholders, and then my team has minority equity as well. But so Omar and I have total control over the company, but our investors are alpha investors. So I'm very focused on like the token price and delivering value back to the investors, because at the end of the day, like, we didn't raise money on the equity. The equity more represents like who has control over the company, which is Omar and I know the community wants that. But we're aligned with the token, and that's why I brought up the profit buyback, because I want to deliver for my investors, and my investors are alpha investors.
Amen. Yes, we are, and we're all here today. Will there be a dashboard that tracks the profit buybacks and burn, Mark, which you just were addressing about? So, yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen if there isn't a dashboard. Come on.
Exactly right. What's your target market? I can see many reasons, but someone said as Ditto scales, integrated Bittensor subnet scales with it. The answer would be everyone. I'm not sure if you've actually talked about this part though, but what will the costs be to use Ditto, and how will that flow back into the subnet?
Absolutely. So to both things. So the target market, and also just like the cost of using Ditto, and where does that money go? So okay, so target market, yes, technically everyone, but of course you got to work backwards from there. So where do we start? I think we start by being useful within this community, because you guys know about us. So and what do Bittensor people have in common? I feel like everybody's a solopreneur in Bittensor. Like, everybody's on that grind. So just like having useful tools like that. And I also know that everybody's in chats, and that we're all in Discord and Telegram both. So that of itself is a bit annoying. So we want to deliver usefulness to you guys, and then we want to deliver usefulness to developers and small businesses. In that, I'm thinking teams of 1 to 10 to 50 to 100. We scale it up. It works for big teams, but I kind of care about the small teams, because that's us. And that's also every subnet. Every subnet is a small team that we can talk to, and is a small, medium, or large business. And if anyone's been on a small team or a startup, like, there's always something a little hectic about it. Like, there's always like 3 apps where communication's happening, and one person that still has a Gmail account, and everyone else has a company email. Like, big companies already have, like, usually they have systems, but the smaller you are, the less likely you are to have like good systems. And that's where we can come in. That's who we want to target. And then eventually that just kind of expands to like everybody. The second question was about cost of Ditto and where does money go. 100% the primary cost to operate Ditto is just inference. It is more expensive than the hosting and the CPUs and just anything else. I would say basically the inference kind of pales in comparison to all other costs, like that they're effectively nil. Storage costs are very low thanks to Hippias. Hosting costs, I'm in discussions with several subnets that have VM, CPU, compute, etc. I started talking to Green Compute, kubet, Cathedral, Targon. So I'm talking to everybody with compute, and everybody's kind of down to give us compute, which is exciting. So, and that's something that grows the pie for everybody at Ditto. You know, as we scale Ditto, we're flowing demand into all those subnets I mentioned where it makes sense. Like we become a router for like, okay, what's the lowest cost subnet commodity that could meet the needs of this person and go there. So yeah, so inference is the main cost. And when you're using Ditto, we have like monthly subscriptions. Currently we have like 3 tiers, and the $20 tier is pretty good. And with the default model, you can use it a lot. And then you can like buy additional tokens. So we do have power users that's I've had one user spend like $200 in a month because they did a lot of coding. So the cost can essentially scale if you are just the more you're using it. And then we recommend like, and we try to optimize for smaller capable models. So for me, for example, I always chat with GPT Luna, which is the smallest of the GPT 5.6 models, yet it's actually quite good. Like the demo I just showed you guys, that was 5.6 Luna using the Ditto harness just fine. You know, I didn't have to go to the big boy Soul, like, and I would go to big boy if I was coding, but in Ditto, it's like way different. You can use like quite low cost models, and that's going to continue dropping. So, and look, like for businesses, I'm sure a lot of us here have that $200 Claude subscription or the $200 Codex subscription. If you've ever looked, they're fronting you guys so much money. They're fronting us all a lot of money. I love it, and I recommend everybody use that. But the reality, if you are a business or an enterprise, they don't give that to you. All businesses are paying full price for those tokens. So if any, you know, enterprise is using Claude Enterprise, oh man, full price. And I think businesses are hungry for cost savings there. I mean, everybody knows how expensive Claude is, and businesses are realizing that, hey, yeah, okay, Fable is the smartest model, but do you need Fable for every task? How many tasks are just kind of routine where Luna could have done it just fine? So Ditto can come in and provide way better like cost optimization for everybody. Retrieve the right facts, the right memory, make an extremely juicy context packet with all the right information, hand it to the coding agent with the smallest possible model that can get the job done, have other agents review it, have our browser use, which is coming, you know, QA test the changes, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that was a long-winded answer, but I guess in summary, everybody knows LLMs are expensive, but there are very smart models on the cost frontier that are just incredible models. It's gotten so much better this year. So our plan is to leverage those to the maximum and forward all those savings to you. So you're still productive, getting a lot done, but you're like reasonable. That's our goal.
That's a big goal. Something you did mention about the models is that you can save costs by using Ditto because it can use lower models. Is that something that's an automatic feature? So if I have a question that's a bit more difficult and complex, that's to do with coding, it'll lean on Fable 5 automatically, or
No.
do I need to adjust this?
Yeah, currently you need to manually adjust it, but that's not where we're going. I hate to say that, yes, you have to choose your model manually. So we love model choice because people have taste in models, but to your point, model routing is the next thing we're going to be doing. Actually, it's something we are going to put in the subnet. We're going to find out, we're going to come up with some type of model routing competition, you know, where you could, you know, pick the right model for different like difficulties of tasks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be great as a user to get like my bang for buck essentially, which would be just like automatic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it just knows when it needs Fable 5. So that's really cool. In terms of incentivizing people to use Ditto, is there a game plan in that, or is that just the referral systems for miners? Oh no, it's not. If I stand corrected, the referral system is the emissions taken from miners to refer people to use the app. Is that the incentive that you have to start onboarding the next generation of Ditto users?
So that's an interesting question because, of course, like Tau-based referrals are not going to work for everybody. It's going to, or Ditto Alpha-based referrals, what have you. Like, so let's say we had a Bittensor native referral program. You get paid in like Ditto Alpha for the referrals because it's emissions. But then we could easily like use some revenue, like just use regular growth fiat and deliver. And so marketing agencies, they still exist. Social media marketing agencies, they would use a tool like Go High Level or nowadays Typefully, and you're kind of providing a service and kind of reselling a software to another business. So this is something that's been discussed a lot, and I'm really interested in Ditto agencies. So can I onboard 10 small businesses? Like, I'm a Ditto agency, and Ditto is general purpose business operating system. I can go sell this general purpose operating system and do a little bit of light customization work to, because Ditto's configurable. So I just set up Ditto for this business over here, gave them a business OS, and let's make it a continuing like referral, like let's make it recurring revenue because you brought that customer in. And as long as you have retained that customer, you're providing a service, right? So I predict there will be Ditto agencies that are bringing businesses into Ditto and kind of being that front line of sales, and we'll be incentivizing them. And of course, I do want to incentivize like individual signups too. So we will basically figure that out. And I would say to that, it would be, we give usage credits for, hey, every person you invite to Ditto, you'll get this much usage credits within Ditto. And we could also do like, hey, you'll get Alpha itself for doing referrals. You can do it both ways.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. And if I wasn't working in Bittensor, I would be introducing this to my workplace. So I guess anyone that's not working in this ecosystem directly, that's just an organic way to spread the gospel as well. Yeah, really, really exciting, and I hope the word spreads.
Oh yeah, I would give a particular incentive to that specifically. Like if you're an individual that brings Ditto into a business, like you should really get rewarded for doing that.
Cool. So maybe there's an incentive structure that you could share with the community soon about that, because I'm sure a lot of people would be on board to impress, I guess, their workspace with Ditto, but then also get rewarded for it. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
See if there's any other questions from the community. No, there's nothing else from them. So now that we've, I guess, covered a lot of the economics and incentives of marketing the subnet or the business, V2, it's something that you demoed to us today. What's the roadmap actually looking like for us to be able to use it?
Certainly. So I believe we'll be able to let people into the beta soon, call it within the next week and a half, I would say. So people can, everybody here, you'll be the first in the door, and we'll let you try out this new interface. There will be some bugs, but it's in a really good spot and getting better every day. You'll see that evolving. You will just access it at v2.heyditto.ai. It is the same account if you already use Ditto. It's the same account, and it's synced. So think of it like just another user interface, right? We got to keep the main interface stable, so we'll kind of operate like that for, let's call it 2, maybe 3 weeks. Like, let's all kind of polish it together. That's a really important phase. And then after that, we just click merge, and V2 is now V2. So I think
Amazing.
We're very close.
So,
and we're not going to hold it up for certain connections. Like I said, in the coming months, like more things are going to be added in.
So it'll be V 2.1.1, like, 'cause it'll just keep upgrading itself, which is which is
we're never
exciting.
gonna
And
stop updating. Ditto is continual improvement. Like if like expect us to ship like basically every week, and call somebody if we didn't ship. You know.
well, I guess the incentive with that for myself is, with even Claude, which I use, the earlier that I got onto that, the more I felt like I actually was good at navigating the whole thing, because I started with just dealing with the LLM, then I started dealing with co-work, then I started using all the integrations, and I feel like that's the same mindset with Ditto. If I started to get on it today, understand all the features, the more features that come out, I can just keep layering it onto the work that I'm already doing, rather than going on there when you feel like things are complete, which they never are with AI. I feel like things are just going to keep updating each week. You won't be able to catch up with all the possible features. So I think that's an incentive to start trying and getting involved today.
I agree. Thank you. I mean, listen, like minimum viable usefulness and like, it doesn't make sense to delay this when there's value like here today. So I would say that. And, coming in with us, just expect continuous improvement. And also we're going to like kind of do what's new, and Ditto will be aware of new things. And I want Ditto to be able to help each person like use Ditto. Be like, oh, you can do this now, by the way, and it's kind of relevant to that email you sent last week. I got this new feature that can help with that now.
Yeah, that's great. And even if that can be updated on your X week on week with like different ways that people can interact with Ditto, that would be like a cool update to continually get.
Wait, can you say that again? Sorry.
So on X each week, when there's new integrations or like changes, like little kind of posts that say this integration has happened. Now there's Telegram. Here's how you can integrate into your everyday usage on Ditto, just so that there's like a reminder of the integrations and how to best use them.
Yes, that is my goal. We're bringing back the demos. I know I stopped doing demos, but we're bringing those back. And my goal, every new feature, there will be like a video on how to use it. And I also plan, we need to cross-post it on YouTube, very important venue. I want to answer TP's question. Will there be a Ditto backfill for Sebi for growth and stuff? That's a great question. I'm happy to, I feel like I can say this, but we started working with Louise from Beyond Finance. She's an incredible asset and resource. She just started like collaborating with us yesterday and just went off like all day, dude. And she's there's going to be a post she's making a post every day. I'm approving them. We're working together. Her brain is on this. She's a longtime Ditto fan. There's also, I think Alex Chapman from Beyond, we're also talking to him as well. So that's the backfill. I mean, I've never felt so supported. I mean, I always loved the Beyond Finance group, but after all this, Jared's like, hey, whatever you need, I know talented people that can do those things. And hey, like the BF group has been our fans from day one. They've been really early users. So Louise already uses Ditto in very high context on what Ditto can do. And she also has asks of us and things that she wants Ditto to be able to do. And anything that Louise needs from us, like I'm like, that's probably a good feature. So yeah.
I've actually I've historically worked with Louise, and she's fantastic to work with. So that's really great to hear you guys are working together. Not only is she just an amazing human being, if you've had the lucky chance of meeting her, she's very intentional with the words she uses. She's fantastic at creating ideas and ideation. And she was the one that was teaching me how to use AI and actually how to. I hope there's some demos or instructions from Louise on even coming my way on how to use Ditto most effectively. And yeah, shout out to to Jared and the Beyond Finance community as well. Really great community they've built there. I'm also a big fan of their work. And if the Subnet Summer community in any shape or form can help support the mission, we would love to, because what you're building is it's cool.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Subnet Summer are homies. You guys, I love you all. So if anybody wants to help, this phase is going to be testing. So I'm going to need you guys to complain about V2 to me for the next few weeks, and we're going to take it from there.
Excited. I'm definitely going to be signing up myself. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll be putting this up on YouTube hopefully as soon as possible for anyone that missed the first part of the podcast AMA, which was amazing, where we got the demo and it was hilarious speaking to the Ditto friend that we had there. So thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely be keeping tabs.
Thank you, Alex. It was a pleasure. Bye, everybody. Bye, SNS.
Bye.